Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Entrepreneur Power Hour Tuesday Night Mastermind. I am your host, Chris Peters. Along with me is my co-host, Kareem Mays. And we have one of Rockstar's clients with us tonight, Mr. Alfred. What's your last name, Alfred?
Alfred Moore.
Alfred Moore from Rome Fitness. He's the CEO of Rome Fitness along with his buddy Devon. And I'm really excited to have one of our clients here tonight to kind of see what our mastermind's all about. And we just had Mr. Josh Bendosky of Rev Media joining us, another really good friend of ours, fellow entrepreneur. And we have Dan Sissick from Las Vegas, Nevada joining us as well. And Sean Chun, our mentor of 20 years from Blue Dot Business Coaching, and he's out of Hawaii. So tonight, everybody, we're talking about developing a pleasing personality. So I'm going to go a little bit through what I've got written down here. So why do you guys think it's so vital in life and in business to develop a pleasing personality? Of course, the answer to that is because a personality that attracts creates more opportunities for one who possesses it. Now, whether your personality is attractive or not is another matter. By far, the most important part of your personality is that which is represented by your character and is therefore the part that is not visible. Also, an important thing is the style of your clothes and their appropriateness undoubtedly constitute a very important part of your personality as well, for it's true that people judge you from first impressions. Unfortunately, we all know how that is. All right, so first question I want to ask everybody. Number one, have you ever dealt with a person who had a negative personality? And if so, did you want to deal with them in the future? You guys can go ahead and chime in, answer that however you want. Oh, you're muted, Alfred.
All right, sorry about that. I was trying to get Devon on the line, and I missed the question.
It's okay. Oh, the question is, have you ever dealt with someone with a negative personality? And if so, did you ever want to deal with them again in the future?
Oh, is that question to me or open?
To everybody? Everybody. We're letting people chime in individually, and then we'll go to each person.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, negative is a very contagious trait if you allow it to be. But did I want to do business with them? No, not so much.
Can you talk a little bit about why you didn't want to do business with them? Just short snippets, just a short thing.
Short and quick to the point answer is because it's more work on my part to convert them from I guess an inquiry to a client.
Got it. All right, Josh, you want to weigh in on that?
I just actually barely got on and I didn't hear it, so sorry, bud.
That's okay. Have you ever dealt with someone who had a negative personality, client or friend-wise? And did you want to be around that person or deal with them on a client basis in the future, and why didn't you?
Negative energy is poison, man. I don't touch negative energy. As soon as I even get a hint that somebody's negative, I just disassociate myself with them, even if they are a good paying client. Because a lot of times you end up in the hole because they're never satisfied. I even have a good friend of mine who I grew up with. I've known him for years and years and years, and I did some work for him, and he loved it, and then we did some more work, and he just had gotten so picky with the project. I finally just said, listen, I'd rather be your friend than work with you because it just creates a negative environment. And so absolutely, I will cut somebody out of my, at least professionally, out of working with them. I'll still stay friends because I don't totally reject people, but definitely if they're negative, I'm not interested in spending time with them.
Makes sense. Dan, you want to weigh in on that?
Sure. Actually, on some of the things I've done, having done retail and stuff in the past, I dealt with negative customers who were not happy with something or this, that, or the other thing, and I had to take the full brunt of it. So in that sense, I had to still work through the situation and make them happy to where they still wanted to make a purchase, but I did not go overly out of my way or anything to do the extra service that I wanted to, that I normally would have done for somebody else had it been a more cordial or business friendly approach. And then as far as impersonal, I actually had a friend who he and I were friends for quite a few years, but he was always negative and always negative me and saying I was a negative person when in actuality I was not a negative person, but he was throwing that on me. And it finally got to the point where I had to start distancing myself and pulling back. And finally, the friendship kind of went, kind of just dissolved itself. And not that if I ever saw him again, we might not be able to get to be friends again, but I'm not actively going out there and pursuing and trying to find out what's going on or whatever, and if he's even around or anything like that. So yeah, I'm learning now more and more that I don't want negative around me, and I don't need negative, and it's just it kind of just seeps in, and I don't need that.
Me either, man. I know for me, and we'll go to Kareem because I think Sean's on a call right now. But for me, I got rid of a lot of negative people that were in my life, and I feel better for it. I only want to hang around with people who are ambitious, positive, goal-oriented, and have positive, constructive, productive habits, because you become a product of your environment. The people you hang out with affect you. Now, whether you consciously are aware of it or not, the people you're around, the people you deal with, the people that you have in your life affect you. And they either pull you down or they lift you up. There's no alternative. So I think being able to differentiate between, like Josh made a really good point about professional and personal life. I've gotten to the point where I don't even want negative people in my personal life, because I'm on a mission to create the best person, the best Chris Peters for people like Alfred and Josh, Alfred's one of our clients now, but really creating a positive environment for Rome Fitness, and me and Kareem representing Rockstar, we've got to be the most positive people with the most positive attitudes, because that's how we're going to keep attracting people to us and doing repeat business with clients. And I think that's a very, very important thing to master, is keeping negative people out of your life, no matter if they've been good friends to you or not. If they don't have the same goals and the same dreams as you, they don't really fit into your lifestyle, in my opinion. But go ahead, Kareem.
I was going to say that there's a lot of people I've dealt with on Facebook, on different websites. When I tried to talk to them, they either didn't have a good personality or they were very flaky. And what I've learned to do is just you move on, because taking the time to dwell on someone who's not interested or doesn't care or is mean hurts the time you could be spending with someone who really cares. And that's what we found out, I think, through years and years of just trying.
I agree. All right, so question number 2. When dealing with people with a pleasing personality, how much easier is it for both parties involved to get what they want from the exchange? Anyone can chime in. Go ahead.
All right. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Alfred.
So, I mean, I think it's quite opposite of, that negative person. You want to go over and beyond. You, even if you're going to miss, cut into your margin, you're okay with that because of the experience. And, those small victories, in my opinion, is what keeps you going, and ultimately they lead to those big engagements that, we all want. So I, much rather deal with someone that's positive than a negative individual.
Absolutely. Dan or Josh?
I'll jump out really quick. I was going to say, yeah, if I find somebody that I'm working with or something like that that is really pleasing and really positive and everything, that's naturally makes me want to go above and beyond, because hopefully I'm looking down the road that hopefully it'll lead to, like, I'm sorry, I forgot your name.
That's all right.
Alfred was saying that, you're looking towards that future of what you're going to build or what you can build. And so maybe, like you said, you cut into your margin a little bit now or give a little bit now, but down the road, because of the, how you build the relationship and the positive, gives you bigger outcome way down the road and leads you even farther down towards whatever the dream is, what you're working towards. And I think we all can see that when we're in that transaction.
Right on. Josh? Josh?
I think he's on a call.
Okay, Kareem?
doing a lot of networking and being on different places to talk to people online and offline, I always want that feeling that I break the barrier and I don't see them as, okay, we're client, but I actually see it as a long-term relationship like I would a family member or a friend that I want to keep cultivating. And then to have that personality, that attitude where I'm going to keep moving forward with them. If I don't have that, then they're not going to be receptive.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good point, because I know that you and I, we butt heads about music sometimes. We have disagreements about certain things, but I think at the end of the day, we're able to push through all that stuff sometime, most of the time. And I think that, I didn't always have the best attitude when we started out, because we weren't getting anywhere, and we kept going and going and going regardless. But we weren't seeing the results we were looking for at first when we started this power hour, and now we have a real actual business out of what we've been doing here. But for me, I think the most important part of it all is just realizing that no matter what, you have to have a good personality. You've got to put those emotions in check. You got to keep yourself in check, because when you're an entrepreneur, especially in the online world, so many eyes are on you. So many people with so many diverse personalities are either going to be attracted to you or they're going to be repelled by you. And it only takes one first impression to screw everything up. So that's what I've learned a lot through personal development, is really, really cultivating a pleasing personality. And I think as a business owner, it's absolutely essential.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I just want to add a little bit to that. And I feel like as, entrepreneurs, it's more so on our calling to be visionary, and you have to look past today. Like, that's what makes us successful. And, because I know statistically they said less than 80% of the, or what is it? Maybe I'm saying it the other way. But
it's all right, man.
Basically 18 months people fail because they can't see past the, man, I just used my credit card, or I just used everything in my bank account to get past that little hump, when, hey, if you just push a little bit more, you can make it. And then with the relationships, I feel like it's very important as your business partners to challenge each other, because if you don't if the bond didn't challenge me, it's really no point of him being my business partner. And, I think that's very important. And it also just takes maturity, for everyone to understand, like, hey, you're not going to see eye to eye, because if that was the case, you don't need that person if you're just everything's going to be yes, 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 yes. So.
And I think that's why Kareem and I make such a great team, because there's such a dynamic between him and I. And, I'm really grounded. I'm a really grounded person, and Kareem's the kind of guy that'll run off with an idea and go, well, let's just try this and see if it works, and I'm the guy that kind of brings them back and goes, well, okay, let's put some planning into this first. Let's examine a couple of things first. And don't get me wrong, I'm very visionary too, but I'm not as quick to act on something without thinking about a plan for it first. And I think that dynamic really works, because we're able to build off of those strengths that we both have and go, okay, then we come together and we synchronize that energy and that vision together. So it's a really good dynamic. It's a really good dynamic that we work with. Sean, you just got off of a call. Do you want to weigh in on anything we're talking about at the moment?
I just got here, so I don't know what you guys are.
Well, we're talking about developing a pleasing personality and why it's important. So question number 3, why do you guys think it's so vital that having a pleasing personality ensures success in life? Oh, I got people's brains turning on that one, eh?
Well, no, I was going to jump on that one because it's kind of like what we just talked about in this previous question, when you are pleasing and positive, and the energy just draws you in, and people are naturally drawn to that, and they want to experience that more because it gives them positive, that same positive vibe and energy, and then it transfers and continues to transfer. So I think that's the main part of it is You know, we all like the positive experience, the positive feelings that, you know, kind of like, you know, when you go work out and you get the endorphins going and you always feel good after a good workout, you know, it's that similar to that, you know, it's like, whoa, I'm on this high, and you want to stay on that high.
I agree 100% with what Dan said. Like you feed off of, you know, positivity, and you kind of like repel that negative energy. So if if you if and it's kind of like whatever you put in the universe is what the universe is going to give back to you. So you're more inclined to, you know, give positive and attract positive when that's what you put out.
Totally agree. Kareem.
I was just gonna say, like, having the attitude there of overcoming any obstacle. I wouldn't even call it so much positivity as I can overcome this wall and I can jump over this hurdle. And I'm not afraid to try new things and then see what I'm going to do when I just keep hitting wall after wall after wall. Just keep going and going and going. People see that, they go, oh, wow, he's confident. He's going for the goal. And then having that attitude of I'm going to finally succeed at whatever it is that I want to do makes it imperative that other people start to say, hey, I'm going to follow this. I'm going to see where this is going, because he feels confident. He knows what he's doing. He's excited about it. And then that in turn brings off positivity.
Oh, we lost Kareem. His bandwidth froze, unfortunately. Yeah, your bandwidth is in the red right now, Kareem. Anyway, so we're moving on now to question number 4. Do you take an interest in what is close to the hearts of others? And in doing so, do you notice how easy it is to quote-unquote sell that person your service or opportunity? And this is my own personal experience. That's how you build a business. That's how you sell services. You got to put the client's interests and goals ahead of your own. It's like Sean Chun taught us: make their goal your goal and synchronize them. By learning what's close to your client's heart, learning about their business, you know, let's say they run a restaurant, trying their food, you know, really experiencing the atmosphere, the quality of their service, and then talking about that with them, talking about what you really loved about being in that place and that experience of being there, is definitely gonna help you sell your service or product. Anyone else want to chime in on that?
Well, I think also you have to be able to take that and also be able to give them the other side of it a little bit in as positive a vein as you can. Let them know that things that you didn't fully quite, that didn't help your experience, even though overall it may have been a good experience, so that way they can grow and they can understand, but come from a place of you know, doing it positively to where you help them see and understand that, you know, this is where you're at, but you can also get there. And I think that's another part of, you know, selling your services, of helping them realize the things that they need help with, but showing them the potential of if they make those changes, what the potential can ultimately become.
Yeah. Go ahead, Alfred or Sean, Josh.
Yeah, so I think at the very least, you know, knowing your potential client's goals allows you to be able to relate to that individual. Because with this world, like a book I'm reading right now, there's not going to be any new creation. Like no guy's gonna. I mean, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all this is just an evolution of something that someone else has already came up with.
Yes.
So when you're able to relate to an individual, you remember them, and then it breaks that barrier of this guy and a product that they already know about, and you form a relationship with an individual. So absolutely. I think at the very least, that's, you know, important. Now, if you have ulterior motives of getting to know these person's goals, that's up to you as the entrepreneur. But I think that it's a good idea to know their goals. You know,
I agree.
Want to help.
I agree. Sean?
Can you repeat the question?
Question is, why do you think, or do you take an interest in what is close to the hearts of others? And in doing so, do you notice how easy it is to sell that person your service or opportunity?
Well, I always say that you have to understand, you got to always try to get your mind in the perspective of the buyer, right?
Yes.
In doing so, you have to, as an entrepreneur, know the market. A lot of entrepreneurs, we tend to be very hard-headed. We're very stubborn about something sometimes. And you have to be able to take yourself out of that mindset because you're always on a direction to sell this product, right? So it's more of a mentality of getting out of the sell this product mentality and then moving on to what is the end benefit to the consumer, to the person that you're trying to communicate with, person you're trying to relate to. So in that sense, it's, yeah, you have to be able to do it. The thing is, the difficult part for most entrepreneurs is that they have difficulty separating themselves and they imagine that's what the customer wants without actually fully realizing the really want and need of why the customer wants it. If that makes any sense.
That makes perfect sense. And that's a lot of what you've taught us to how to build Rockstar and how to showcase what we offer and making the client's goal our goal and stuff like that. And that's just the tip of the iceberg of a lot of the stuff you've taught us. But that makes complete sense.
Good.
Kareem?
Can I piggyback off what Sean said?
Well, of course you can.
Yeah, it's just like getting past that hard-headedness of I'm going to do it this way. And I remember I was like that before, even I think me and you when we first said, okay, we're just going to do this mastermind, it's just our business, or this is my idea for my business, and this is how I'm going to do it. And I start pushing. And then I find out that maybe somebody else has a perspective I didn't consider, that if I adopt it, not get rid of my dream, but adopt a different way of getting better every day, I can change my business and my.
Oh, can I piggyback off of you now?
Of course, Dan. We're waiting to hear from you. Go ahead.
I was going to say, yeah, I agree because, you said what Sean said and what you just said is that it's that being, for lack of a better word, coachable or able to be coached and shown what, how you can maybe look at things and get a different perspective. Because a lot of times when I'm this way, it's like, no, I vision it in my head here like this, exactly like this. And sometimes I never even look at other possibilities. And to have somebody be able to come in and who's maybe providing a service I want, to be able to kind of turn my head and my view and make me look at it a different way, it's like, oh, I never thought of it that way. I never looked at it. Okay. And the fact that this other person probably has a lot more experience in dealing with this type of stuff, why not listen to somebody who's got experience and understands this, so that way I can learn to get that same understanding and to grow and be able to add that and put it into my business.
Makes sense to me. Did we hear from you, Alfred, on this question?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay. I wanted to make sure we weren't. Is Josh back? Josh, are you there, buddy?
I am, but I just barely got back on, so I'll jump on the next one.
Okay. Question number 5. Do you praise people for their strengths and talents? And do you understand why this plays a role in developing a pleasing personality? Go ahead, guys. Anybody?
I'll go first again. Yes, I know, like for me, I know I need lots of people to that building up because of my background. And I've talked about it before in the masterminds about my childhood background of being abused and stuff. So I only really had one person in my life that really kind of built me up until I moved down here to be with other members of my family, building into me and praising me for the things I could do and telling me that I could do things and stuff like that. So I tend to be like that with other people. I recognize that in other people and I see it, and I, want to build people up, because I think we all need that. I think we all are our own worst critics, and so therefore, you know, I think I do it all the time.
Yeah, and I mean, I know for me and Kareem, we always praise people's talents and strengths that we're talking to our clients that we're helping, because that I want people to understand that being an entrepreneur is not just about making money. It's about changing the world. It's about making an impact on people's lives. And entrepreneurs bring people up. They don't take people down. And it's vital, because if you want people to see you as a person who is worth a lot of money, you've got to be worth a lot in spirit. You got to be worth a lot in skills. You got to be worth a lot in mindset. You got to be worth a lot in your personality, your tendencies, your habits. So it's creating the best person you can. It to me is what being an entrepreneur is really, really all about, and making sure that you share that with the world, and you help everybody you can do the same thing. Next person.
Yeah, and I have to piggyback off of what you just said, Chris. I mean, entrepreneurs, in a nutshell, it's being a leader.
Yes.
And it's very important to not, like, in my opinion, as a leader, and this goes all the way back to my military, career, that you'll attract more, like a term my mom says, you'll attract more bees with honey versus vinegar. So if you're that leader, if you're that person that brings others with you, you'll get more, not only respect, but you'll also gain trust.
Absolutely.
And those are two vital things that you have to have in your people that you work with, your subordinates or your counterparts.
I agree. Totally agree. Josh. Is he gone again? Josh? Sean.
Okay, so I feel I have to train a lot of people when I do turnaround services for companies. So I praise individuals, but I also am cautious of how much I praise them. The reason being is that you have to be careful that if you praise someone too much, they tend to lack the value, and there's a lesson to be learned there. So what happens a lot of times is that a lot of managers, they overpraise their employees. Like I just up this retail chain, like 80 stores. And the managers, they taught them like, oh, keep praising employees, keep giving them bonuses, right? The problem with that is that they fail to they don't understand, they're only getting the good. And the good is good. Nothing wrong with giving the good. The hard part about that is that when the bad comes, they take it even harder. So it's a psychological thing. It's a psychological thing for them. So I praise when earned, but I don't praise for the sake of praising. So there's a distinct difference there between when I look at a business where it's like, are the employees getting too much praise where they feel now so empowered that they can do no wrong, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm in a place to praise individuals. I mean, even with you guys, like, I'm not going to always constantly praise you because you're going to think you're doing everything right. But sometimes you're not doing everything right.
Yep.
Even with my clients, like sometimes you're not going to be everything right. So I'm going to be positive about it, but at the same time, that praise is something of like a currency for me, where and that's why you see a lot of these CEOs and whatnot I work with, a lot of them, they don't, if you notice, top CEOs, they don't give a lot of praise. You look at the top CEOs in history, right? Steve Jobs, Henry Ford, right? Bill Gates. They're not praising people. They give out praise structurally to those that really deserve it, because then it means that much more.
Absolutely. I agree.
So in that sense, I'm not against the positivity. Positivity is all good. It's a sense of that when I'm training people, it's about structuring that praise to get the most out of your individuals, out of your employees. If that makes any sense.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Perfect sense. Alfred?
Yeah, I just really like that point, how he said that praise is like a form of currency. And you know, I took a lot out of what, you know, that about what everybody said about praise. Like, it's good. And, you know, if you do too much, then that one, you know, people might think it's expected. And then when you give them the bad news, they're going to think you're the worst guy on earth. So that was a great point.
It's the dynamic that I see in large companies when I work with them. That's what happens, where they train their managers to give too much praise and too many bonuses. And then when they do something wrong, they take it so much more harder. So you have to regulate that praise to, you know, and I do it on a social level too. Like, I don't want to be the nice guy all the time, because then it's just like people, right, get taken advantage of, right? The nice guy always gets taken advantage of.
Yep.
So it's just like that in life, but in business, it's even more so, at least.
I agree. I agree entirely. And that's kind of what I meant by the question, you know, do you praise people for their strengths and talents? And I think that is what you just said is very important, because you can't praise people for doing nothing. You can't praise people just for getting out of bed and going to work. I asked them, how do they put up with it? Like, I know when I go to Walmart and get my groceries or whatever, there's people that have been there for 30 years. And I'm going, you haven't shot the place up yet with a rifle? Like, you've been doing this for 30 years. You've only got a $5 raise in 30 years on your month, on your hourly wage. Like, that's insane. But, you know, people believe they don't have an alternative. And that's the really, really sad thing, is they don't think they have another way. They have to do this job, and because it's comfortable for them, they've gone into that pit of comfort zone where it's like, well, I know I'm going to get paid. I know that what I'm working, how many hours I have to put in. But the danger of having a strictly employee mindset is that you can always be replaced by someone who can do it better. And as an entrepreneur, if you keep developing your skills and growing and adapting and innovating and changing, your services can never be replaced. Yes, you will have competition, but no one can replace you specifically. So it's a win-win situation to be an entrepreneur. Yes, it takes a lot more work. It takes a lot more dedication. It takes more persistence. It takes discipline. It takes focus. It takes persistence. But at the end of the day, that's way more worth it to me than becoming comfortable at a job I can't stand, where at the end of the day, I don't ever want to come back again. Kareem.
I would fundamentally say that when you step outside that comfort zone, it's why do people stay in that? Because, oh, I feel comfortable. I've been doing this for X amount of years. When you say, hey, I'm going to take an adventure. I'm going to have fun with this. You have this whole sea of online ideas and stuff and things you can do and different ways to actually start creating your dream from scratch. And I can't think of any reason, especially in the digital age, why this can't be possible. You know, 10, 20 years ago, me and Chris couldn't do what we're doing on this scale. But now it's possible. So if you have a concept, an idea, something you want to create, something that, you know, is amazing, you can do it. And as far as praise goes, I try and praise very little. I think that's a good idea. I think when you really get praise is when you just keep working and doing what you love to do, and then it just comes naturally, kind of like good health or positive attitude or anything else.
It's a good point. Final question: do you talk about other people?
Good. How you doing, bud?
Hello? I don't know who that was. Anyway, so question number 6, do you talk about other people or do you talk about ideas? And what do you think the differentiating factor is between these two habits? I'll go first on this one. I think talking about people is taking the focus off of yourself and your goals, because you're wasting your time talking about what's wrong with other people, negative things you see in them, always criticizing, condemning other people. I think is not very characteristic of a person who's going to be a positive influencer on people or a positive person to be in business with. So I think that talking about ideas is much more productive. And I don't think that talking about people it's not good for you and it's not good for anybody else. And it really what it is, it's a reflection of how you feel about yourself in certain ways, I would definitely say. And that's my thoughts on that. I think it's much more productive to talk about ideas. Go ahead, guys.
The problem is when you focus on other people. If I focus on what someone's doing, and it's very easy with Facebook. I can go A, B, C, what's going on here, or what's Dan doing, or what's this Chris guy doing? But then I find out, hey, if I don't really focus on what's going on in my life, see, I can take an idea and transform it into something tangible, something digital, and then run with it. Where if I'm focused on another person, what they're doing, it doesn't do anything in terms of productivity, and it can become toxic if I, hold on to that.
Go ahead, guys. Chime in. Alfred, anybody?
Yeah, I agree with what Kareem just said. It's easy to focus on what everybody else is doing, but that's when take it back to the basics of, knowing your goals, knowing your vision, and, focusing on that. And I say that loosely because you do kind of have to be aware of what others are doing, simply because you may get, an idea sparked based off of someone else's actions, but you can't focus on that. Just use it more as a guidance to see, hey, I'm doing okay, or I'm on track, or something like that. That's just my take, and I'm pretty sure that will change with time, or how the world keeps evolving.
Go ahead.
What was the question?
Do you talk about other people, or do you talk about ideas, and what do you think the major differentiating factor is between these two habits?
I think for me, I'm learning how to get better at trying not to talk about people and stuff. I think that's something that's overly prevalent and overly focused on within our society and people in general, and it goes back to that negative side and trying to drag people down, and because we want to build ourselves up. And I think, like Alfred said, is going back and you need to still definitely be aware and understanding what's going on out there, and even of what people are saying, but you don't have to necessarily engage in all that. But like you said, you can pick up on an idea or get a spark, or somebody might do something, and then you might look at it and go, oh, I can make that better, or something like that. And I think that's where being actively engaged without being engaged is a way of, dealing with that and working with that. And if somebody starts to be negative, that's when you kind of shift it, or don't partake, or whatever you need to do to keep it to a minimum.
Yep. Completely agree. Sean, do you want to weigh in on that?
Yeah, actually I see it as kind of, my perspective on it is that it's kind of hand in hand. Whereas, people have the ideas. People come up with the ideas. Business is all about ideas. But ideas come from people. Right? So any good entrepreneur, business owner, whatever, CEO, they never close their mind to what other people say, what other people think. It's always on my mind. Those two things are actually always on my mind, where I don't talk about other people, but I have what they're thinking on my mind in regards to either product or the service, whatever it may be. And the ideas stem from the people. Right? So the market always says, the market determines what it is, your price is. The market determines how much you sell. The market determines where you distribute. The market determines everything. And to me, they kind of go hand in hand, where the people, I don't talk about them, but they are the ones that give me the idea in order to do something with the idea. So I see it as kind of a dichotomy where they're kind of both hand in hand, where you need both. You obviously shouldn't focus on the people. I understand the question where it's like saying, okay, you know, the lesson there is like you shouldn't be focused on the people. You should be focused on an idea, right? But at the same time, I focus on the people because those are the people that's where the ideas stem from. That's where the ideas come from, right? If I had all the answers, then there wouldn't need to be anybody, right? Then there's no business, right? So therefore, you got to get ideas from different people, and then they kind of go hand in hand. And those ideas you kind of go back to the people for. So it's kind of a juxtaposition where they kind of go back and forth in that sense. But I understand that the lesson is that you shouldn't be focused on the people. You should be focused on the idea. I'm just saying that's my...
Yeah, no, I think what I meant by the question is, you know, do you talk more about negative things people do, and what are you more focused on, the negative side of people, or are you more focused on the ideas and the good ideas that people have? It's a perspective shift away from the negative and focusing more on the positive than anything else.
I don't do that anyway, so that's why.
No, I know.
I don't think in that terms.
Yeah.
I understand where the question comes from.
Yeah. We have somebody joining us on the phone. Who's that?
This is Steve. Excuse me.
Steve who?
Hello?
Steve Grogan, that's my friend. He wanted to come in, and Steve, we're just doing a mastermind and about developing a pleasing personality, and then I'll introduce you to Sean. So.
Okay. So now we're going to have we're going to talk about Rockstar Entrepreneurial Starters, and we're going to discuss our services and the benefits of working with us. So I'm going to share my screen here. So what is Rockstar Entrepreneurial Starters? Well, what we can do for you is help you get more customers through leveraging the power of YouTube video marketing. And with effective videos, you can easily reach new customers, and that's going to allow you more time to focus on improving your products and services. We can also help you create a new customer base, increasing your sales, also helping you reach a whole new market or boost your existing one. How is this accomplished? Well, it's accomplished through our unique branding services, including video creation, production, marketing, and custom channel customization. What makes us unique? Well, high definition videos with a custom background, professional script writing and presentation as your company spokesperson or actor, powerful voiceovers with enthusiasm you can't find anywhere else, custom animations, annotations, and music to amplify your message to your audience, and with our Rockstar 30-day promise and 3 free revision guarantee assures you that we are with you every step of the way and we get your videos exactly how they want it. Now, it's estimated that by 2020, YouTube is going to be the largest search engine in the world. And businesses are going to want to be online, because if you're not tapping into the power of leveraging YouTube, you're missing out on a 5 billion view potential every single day of people taking a look at your business and your services. We can increase customers for any niche. Doesn't matter what you do. Doesn't matter if you're online, offline, brick and mortar, entrepreneur. We can work for you. We work with any profession, from chefs, health specialists, online product creators, people like Rome Fitness, fitness apparel with Alfred here. We've done work for him as well. We cover it all. Kareem, anything you want to add to that?
The only thing I'm going to add, and that was a really good presentation, is if you're not using video, if you're not utilizing the power of video, then it's going to be very difficult to, really paint that powerful picture of what you're about and what you're doing, so your customers can see you, and your customers can see you from anywhere in the world. So it's time.
All right.
Start to your
business. All right, everybody. I want to thank Sean Chun, our mentor. I want to thank our client of Rome Fitness, Mr. Alfred. What's your last name again, Alfred? I'm so sorry.
Moore.
Alfred Moore, I want to thank him for being here tonight, and Dan Sisek, as always, for being here, and Josh Bendowski, even though he had to go, he was here for a while, and Steve. I want to thank you guys, and I'm going to stop the recording now, so we'll see you next week for the Entrepreneur Power Hour Tuesday Night Mastermind. Have yourselves a wonderful week, everybody. Take care. Take care.